Crazy. Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Bring me back to my senses. Okay. Hi, everybody. Call this meeting to order.
Everything went well.
Yeah, it's a beautiful day and
Great.
Are there any announcements? John, who is with us electronically?
Mr. President, we have a couple of guests tonight. We have Bill Young and Kenny Horns. I believe they're both with United Properties, the Forefront Technology firm.
What we're gonna take care of today? Right, okay. I have some questions for you, ma'am. Okay. You'll be on the hot seat. Okay, so welcome, gentlemen. Can you hear us okay?
Yes, I can hear you. Thank you.
Okay, everything's good. Would like to make a motion to approve the agenda. Do I have a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Yes, ma'am.
Under attorney, on your desk, I got this after the packet went out. It is, regarding, well, I'll talk about it, but it's the stop certificate for one of the permits. So I'll just add it under attorney.
Okay. And John also had something from Mr. Josh Phillips.
Yes.
Right. So we can add that under managers, please. And remind me as well, please. Okay. So with that, now, did I ask for a motion to approve the agenda?
And second.
Okay, it's been seconded.
Aye.
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 Right, that is approved. Public forum, anybody wishing to speak? Nothing, we have agenda with you folks a little later. We'll get to that in due time. But not hearing anything there. We're gonna move on to the consent calendar. I want to do something here. I want to go ahead. I don't want to waste anybody's time, but I want to pull item E on our consent calendar. I have a question and perhaps a comment or two. Yes, sir.
I'd like to pull on item C, permit 2026.
Okay, very good. So we will address those separately. Go ahead and I'd like to make a motion to approve items A, B, D, and F. Do I have a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded.
Aye.
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 That is approved. Let's go immediately to item C. Go ahead, sir.
So my only question is, I mean, this looks like a, I mean, not a big development, but not a small one. Chloride management plan, not applicable or not available, or what are the criteria by which we determine whether one is required or not?
Mr. President, Vice President Garrett, this permit was issued prior to the current rules requiring a chloride management.
Okay. Look, that's an easy answer.
That satisfy you, sir?
Yes,
Okay, would you like to make a motion?
I will move approval of permit 2019-06 Bentley Village Lake Elmo.
Second that motion. It's been moved and seconded.
Aye.
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 It is approved. Let's move on to item E. Item, plant grant for the Kim Uri, if I pronounce that correctly. So the only reason I'm bringing this up is I want the managers to be aware, we have an upcoming meeting regarding the situation on the grants, and I'm looking at this and it's all very nice, but I'm missing something. It's wonderful what this person is doing, but don't see a diagram. Did I miss the area and what's happening here, or?
Mr. President, what you see is what I received from Washington Conservation District.
Okay.
The last paragraph on the first page. That, plant owner is planning to purchase at least 62 varieties of individual plants.
That's wonderful. Natives and, we hope this, I assume those are perennials. Maybe not, no?
They
Okay.
should be. perennials.
Find out, I thought marigolds were not, maybe I missed something there.
Marsh marigold is a native plant.
Oh, okay. It's not like mustard. Yeah. Okay, very good, sir. So, I want the managers to be aware of what's happening here, and this is, something, you can make a note of this, Mr. Engineer. I want this, brought up when we have our meeting. This is an example of something that, I have a particular concern with. Again, I'm trying to sound like a bad guy, I just think that there's some details that we need to include, and perhaps something wasn't included here, or I missed something. But we're gonna work on that. So with that said, I would like to make a motion to approve item E on our consent calendar. Do I have a second?
Second.
Has been moved and seconded.
Aye.
Hi,
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Item E is approved. Thank you, gentlemen. Okay. Updates and requests from partners, volunteers, citizen advisory committee. Okay. I am hearing more crickets though. Right, nothing there. Let's move on to business and reports. Administrator engineer, 2025 watershed plan. Mr. Williams, you are up. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. President. What was included in it is a draft introduction to the plan. This is section 1 of the plan. It's preceded only by the executive summary. Much of the content of the introduction that's presented in the packet is similar to what's in the existing plan, updated to reflect a few things that have changed since then. Primarily an updated list of major accomplishments since the last plan. That is something that's required as part of Minnesota Rules 8410. Moving some of the detailed flooding history into a little formatted sidebar. That's nice.
Excellent, by the way. Thank you, sir. That's important, I think.
I've omitted the list of past managers, as that's something that may get updated during the life of this plan. And if you guys want to keep that, I would suggest that could be a table that's on the website as opposed to in the plan document.
The Hall of Fame table.
Yeah, the legends of the BBWD. And then there's an added graphic, which the one that's included in this introduction is not formatted yet for Valley Branch Watershed District. It's an example from another watershed, but it's just an infographic that gives a brief summary of the role of other, mostly state, but also regional agencies in watershed management. It's intended to replace a more detailed description that was included in the last plan.
Excellent.
And so the version that's in here would be updated for Valley Branch, reference Met Council, Washington Conservation District, those types of partners.
Very good, sir. If the managers don't have anything in particular, I have a couple of questions or.
I have one.
Do you have something?
One item. Thanks.
Please.
And that is, I'm wondering if we could illustrate the relationship of municipalities and Valley Branch Watershed District with a map, perhaps even without using this table, or maybe both of them, table 1.1. It just seems like, that kind of breaks things up a little bit, and it, I think for many people, it's a quick way to see, oh, okay.
Oh, a better visual?
Only if,
Yeah.
only a portion of, North St. Paul is included, and
My apologies, that's not included in this draft, but there will be a map that shows at a very simplified level, essentially just colored polygons to represent the cities without other data on the map so that people can clearly see
yes,
how much, in that northwest area where it's like, you got 10 acres of White Bear Lake and Matamidi and a bunch of other versus, Baytown Township and Lake Como and the other, and Woodbury and the other ones that make up a larger portion of the watershed.
Yep.
So that's gonna reflect how should I say? Relevant sizes.
Yeah, so it would be a GIS based figure, so it'll be represented in as a map with different. I suppose that you could do it in sort of word cloud type of thing where you've got the size of the city, but and more of a like a conceptual layout or but I think you were talking more of like just an actual map that
Actually,
shows, you know,
simplified
Yeah.
in terms of showing boundaries and, you know, that type of thing. You
Yeah.
see where the surrounding watershed districts are as well at the same time. Mhm.
I think that was a good idea,
Yeah.
Rick.
Yep.
Do the managers have anything else? Mike? Yes, sir. Go
I
ahead.
just have a very basic comment about the vision statement. You know, we're charged with, or we have a vision of being stewards of the water. But a lot of the work that we have to do is not directly in the water, but above the water, because that's where the problems are arising. And so I just wonder if it might be reasonable to say, always be careful stewards of the water and interconnected natural resources within our watershed boundaries.
Oh, that one, I'm gonna comment on that.
I anticipated that there might be some more thorough discussion on the vision. So I've
Yeah.
got some examples from some other organizations and some thoughts on that if we want to go to the vision.
If I may, and with the rest of the approval of the board, for years, I don't know why I wasn't more vociferous about this, but I want that careful word replaced. That's okay with everybody. I'm not gonna get mad. I just think that conscientious is too much, in my opinion, but responsible, diligent, or faithful, or dutiful, which are synonyms or synonymous, might be better. That is my opinion. If nobody has any objections, I'd like to go with one of those. Diligent, I like diligent.
I wrote down prudent as a potential as well. I don't know if you like that one. Not as much.
I'm not sure you actually need anything in there
What's that?
because stewardship implies that you are
You are being careful
careful
already.
about it, yeah.
Yeah, but that's what I was thinking too,
Yeah.
almost like an unnecessary modifier.
Be the fraidy cat stewards. I don't know. It just never sounded right to me, and I never did anything about it. So there's an opportunity. Yes, sir.
I had just one question, and it's not related to the intro. It's just a broader thing, and I haven't discussed this with the manager, but sometime in the next 10 years, if perchance we decided there was a part of the watershed we wanted to study to see what the potential impact were from a very extreme rainfall event. Would the climate resiliency section give us the wording we need to be able to do that within our 10-year plan?
Yes,
So I'm
so
not saying we would do that or not, but I'm just thinking that it was one of those things I woke up in the middle of the night thinking, maybe there's some place we might want to look at.
flood risk is identified as a high priority issue. And there is an action in the implementation table to form analyses to evaluate flood risk throughout the district.
He answered my question. Thank you.
Excellent.
It's a general item, it's a placeholder that basically would allow the district to continue to pursue those studies. Because and John, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the district is still going through the process of updating modeling in portions of the watershed.
Right.
And that would kind of be a continuation of that.
Okay, thank you.
One more silly comment about some of the wordage here. On the history of the early flooding of the Valley Branch Watershed District in the post-World War II era prior to the formation sounds like a geologic event. We're not that old. And I was thinking establishment. How does that sound to you? Does that sound reasonable? Yeah, formation.
Establishment.
Yes, sir. Does that sound reasonable to everybody? And following through with that whenever you see that word again. Not a big deal. I just thought it was an appropriate word. Kind of nitpicky, I guess.
Okay. That's good.
Yeah. Mhm. All right. Do managers have any further questions or comments regarding this?
So I just want to revisit the vision, but did anybody have any comments other than the vision?
Go ahead. Go ahead, sir.
And this, again, we don't have to update the vision if you're comfortable with the vision as it is. I did want to note that some of the visions from other organizations around here are a little bit, they're a little bit different phrased in the way that your vision is kind of an action-oriented vision versus kind of a how do things look? Or like what's the future sort of utopian condition of the watershed?
Right.
Which there's nothing wrong with that, but like sort of being stewards is action based. And if you're comfortable with that and you still like that, then we can stick with that.
Do you have any examples of what the other, Rob?
Sure. Well, I'll just read through some examples for the other ones, and some of them are varying levels of detail. Bassett Creek is stewardship of the Wahaha Bassett Creek watershed to improve ecosystem health and reduce flood risk. Lower Mississippi Rivers is healthy lakes, streams, and rivers that are enjoyed and supported by thriving communities. Minnehaha Creek is a landscape of vibrant communities where the natural and built environments are in balance and create value and enjoyment. Ramsey, Washington is quality water for quality life. And then the one watershed, one plan for the lower St. Croix says St. Croix River groundwater, lakes, streams, rivers, and wetlands and upland habitat in the St. Croix River watershed sustain healthy ecosystems, recreation, public health, tourism, agriculture, the economy, and quality of life in our communities.
Did we miss anything?
They did not. But essentially, all of the vision statements that they typically identify a condition or an outcome tied to resources. And sometimes they also specify who. I mean, in the case of the St. Croix River there, they listed all of their resources,
Right.
you know, groundwater, lakes, streams, et cetera. And they listed all of their outcomes, like tourism, economics, recreation, all of that stuff too. You don't need to do that. And your vision statement is supported by mission statements, which clarify, I think, to a large degree, the resources that you're focused on and the tools that you use. Your mission statement,
General.
yeah, it's 6 bullets. One of them was related to surface water and groundwater quality. One of them was related to flood risk. One of them was related to wetlands. One's about planning and collaboration with your partner cities, and another one's related to education. And I think they hit a lot of the details.
Do.
But there is a little bit of overlap in your vision statement with the vision statement where you
Yeah.
talk about the coordinated efforts of the district communities and residents. But if you like that in the vision statement, there's nothing wrong with keeping that. There's nothing wrong with the vision statement. This is a 10-year plan. It's an opportunity to revisit it. And if you had thoughts about things that you didn't like or wanted to emphasize, this would be the time to do so.
I think a little bit of an overlap with this, is it A and F essentially, or that, that's essentially what we do. And we're going to continue to do this, of course.
Yes, your mission statement, part A, promoting communication and collaboration with our residents, communities, and pertinent governmental units. I think that's very relevant. It speaks to the planning and the regulation piece that you do.
Right, and F is education.
Yep.
But it's doing the same thing, only we're providing or adding to the education of the public and our LGUs and constituents and our superiors, government-wise. Okay. So I feel satisfied with that. Gentlemen, anything? Mr. Inspector,
But there was a comment to add the water resources and the interconnected. Or what, you said waters and interconnected natural resources?
Yeah, or just connected,
Where's that?
interconnected is, I think you could strike D before water, so it would just read always be stewards of water and connected natural resources.
The, an alternative too, if you want to, you could just inclusively say the watershed, which would be the water resources and everything that brings to it. But if you want to specifically call out the connected natural resources, I think that is a strong thing because it does allude to the fact that you do projects for upland or wetland areas that are adjacent to water
Yeah.
bodies.
yeah,
Yeah, erosion control and
Yep.
all of that, yeah.
Okay, so what I have here is always be stewards of the water and connected natural resources within our watershed boundaries through the coordinated efforts of the district, its communities and residents. I would also consider you may want to cut within our watershed boundaries. I do think it's implied
yeah,
with your jurisdictional limits. I just think it adds words when you don't need them.
right,
Mhm.
good idea.
So I'll read it again, sorry.
Yes, go ahead.
Always be stewards of the water and connected natural resources through the coordinated efforts of the district, its communities and residents.
Simple enough.
Okay.
Anything further, sir?
That is it. And as always, if anybody has other typos that they find or word choice things that they want to do, then feel free to send me those edits offline and we'll incorporate those as well.
Yes, thank you, Greg. It is very nice. Yes, ma'am.
There was one I noticed, if I might mention it, on page 2, and this is word choice. So
This document?
maybe you all love this word choice.
Page
If you-
2.
Yeah, you see bullet 8, and then it's the Minnesota statute 103D gives a broad authorities. The second bullet point is conduct studies and investigations, and then your last bullet point is enter lands for surveying and other investigations. Investigations is meant differently in those two, but it's just struck me. I was like, didn't you just say you did investigations when I read it? So I was wondering what the manager thought about conduct studies and,
Well, some we do without entering property, right?
yeah.
And some with, so it does seem redundant, but
I would suggest that maybe
Like research.
investigations could be cut from the second bullet. I think studies is inclusive
Studies
of
and
that.
research, or, you know, that's more what I was thinking, that investigation is more of
Okay.
an academic kind of investigation is what I
good eyes,
this
counselor.
mean. But you're the
could-
managers, if you all love it, keep it. It just jumped out at me.
No, you're right. I like it.
You could even combine the first two bullets, so it says collect data and conduct studies. When you conduct a study, you often gather data to do that.
Enter lands with orange vests. And then don't there. Okay. Thank you, Counselor.
Mhm.
Think we've got it now.
Thank you, members.
Okay.
Mhm.
Thank you, Greg. You gonna get home before the sun goes down? Or are you gonna hang out?
I will bail. but It is getting darker quickly. I'm not ready for this yet.
I know. What are you gonna do? Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you
Thank
for your
you.
efforts. Okay, and as he pointed out, anybody that has questions or comments, we can follow along. Good night.
Thank you.
Okay. Now this is gonna get interesting. Our next item is permit 2022-27 Forefront Technology Park, Oakdale. John, please lead us into this. I have a touch of befuddlement on this, permit. Go ahead, sir.
So the Forefront Technology Park project is located in Oakdale. It's the part of the old Ignatian campus. So it's adjacent to basically 674 Old Highway 5 and South 14. The project included constructing a large warehouse facility and then a couple infiltration basins to handle stormwater. One of those infiltration basins is not working. And permit holder has concurred that it's not working. We've had a couple different meetings with the permit holder and their representatives to go over what the Valley Branch rules are. The rules do allow some flexibility if a site, if it's not feasible to do stormwater volume control on a site. So the process is you try to do stormwater volume control to meet a rule. If you can't meet that standard, then you try to do as much volume control as possible, and then you do water quality treatment to treat 75% of the total phosphorus given the site. If you can't do that, then there's some other steps involved. So we've had communication with the property owner on that. The property owner's geotechnical engineer did some investigation on the site. So again, this was permitted from the Watershed District in 2022. Basins were constructed in 2023 and almost immediately was identified as a work.
John, please, how are they not working?
They're not infiltrating. The basin that we're talking about is not infiltrating.
Got it.
There's some photos in the memo that
Yep.
show that, you know, full of water on May 22nd, 2025. A week later, still full of water. And there's a kind of a breach in the pre-treatment cell to the infiltration area. So they're not infiltrating. The permit holder worked with their geotechnical engineer, went out there and did some additional soil borings after they were not working. They found that the soils were generally loose for the top 1.5 feet or so. And then below that, they were very dense, so very hard. That would indicate that they probably didn't follow the Valley Branch permit condition that said that they were supposed to loosen up the soils to within 5 feet of the bottom of the basin. However, their geotechnical engineer said that, well, even if we had done that, the soils below that 5 feet are not so good for infiltration. And so their feeling is that if they were to do these modifications, it would likely be like a bathtub that has sand at the bottom where it's like, well, it's once all the voids and the sand particles fill up, then you still have the same problem because the water can't seep off the bottom because it's like pavement. So the permit holder has suggested 2 options and they're laid out in the memo. One is a financial contribution. The Valley Branch rules and regulations do not talk about a financial contribution. And frankly, I think that maybe some of the corrections needed on the site would exceed the surety that's being held.
Yeah, I was curious about that.
So then the permit holder's second option is to reconstruct the basin to be a wet pond and a water quality treatment pond. And that's in line with the Valley Branch rules and regs, that if you've done everything practical to do as much volume control as possible, which that's the subjective part that I'd like to get input from the managers if they feel like they've done that. Then they could go to water quality treatment to treat 75% of the total phosphorus load leaving the site. The calculations that their engineer submitted late this afternoon, he thinks that they can achieve that 75%. What we got last week, it was slightly below that. It's like 73%, but looking at information from the Pollution Control Agency, he thinks that you can get to that 75%. So we looked at, okay, if you don't do volume control, what's it going to do downstream? are they meeting rate control, leaving the site? So the big housing development, Willowbrook is downstream of the site, and so it's like, okay, are you going to somehow jeopardize these new homes that are being constructed from not having that 2 foot of freeboard that the watershed district requires? So you're gonna cause more flooding or what have you. So that's what the tables in the memo kind of lay out, just the peak discharge rate and the flood elevations and such. I guess the bottom line is that, you know, I like input from the managers on how much to push as far as requiring volume control. It'd be very difficult to retrofit an already constructed site to use that water that's being collected in response to irrigation. If that had been kind of the plan up front, then maybe you could have this pond that collects water and use it for irrigation on site. Even if they were to do that, they're not going to be able to meet the volume control rule by Valley Branch with just irrigation, but it would be some. And then if the managers proceed with the option 2, as far as water quality treatment only, then Josh has laid out some suggested conditions for the managers to consider with that approval. It looks like you got some questions for me, Mr. President.
Yeah. We're trying to figure out what we can do here. Now, just to revisit one item, they had approached Bar Engineering. Before I get to that, had they been working with Bar Engineering regarding construction and implementation of this particular project?
Mr. President, just like all permits, we review the documents up front and prepare the permit review memos on whether they conform to the district's rules and regs. They did at that time. You issued a permit, it gets handed off to Inspector Brower to make sure it gets constructed according to the plans. And then, when it comes to closeout time is when the proof is needed in order to show that it really performs as required. The permit holder, as written in the memo, I think they contacted us in 2023, so like a year after construction, and said, hey, we don't think it's working. Nothing really happened and after that conversation until this fall, when they again approached us and say, hey, it's not working, what should we do? And we pointed them back to the Valley Branch rules saying, this is the flexible design sequence that you need to follow. It's like, okay, you do as much volume control as possible on site or off site. And then if you can't do that, then you start working on this water quality treatment. So that has been, I guess, if your question is, has there been communication between the permit holder and party? There has.
Okay. One other quick one regarding their approaching you with helping them or incurring further costs to do something that would be dealing with Bar outside of what the Watershed District.
No, we're not working for them. We're working for you. So
Right,
we haven't done anything on their design. We haven't done any. No, it's just standard process. They have their own engineer who's online. They have their own
Okay,
geotechnical engineer. So we have not been directing them on what to do. We've just been informing them of what the Valley Branch Watershed District rules are.
Mr. Brock, did you have a question?
Yeah, I did. Just looking at the peak water surface elevation tables there, and you have that for the wetland, which is downstream. And those didn't look bad, but I'm just curious, what's downstream of that wetland? I mean, how far do we chase this down, and are we potentially causing a problem if we don't do the volume control?
Yes, Mr. President, Secretary Brock. Because if they're able to conform to the rate control, we then chase it downstream. What is downstream is more infiltration basins, more wetlands within the Willowbrook subdivision.
Okay. And so we don't think we would overwhelm those infiltration basins and things in Willowbrook then?
We can go back and confirm that, but at this point we don't. But I can ask the review team to look at that.
I'm just curious, was Willowbrook, was that the one where they had trouble meeting our elevations to the floor elevations of the doors. There was one development right over in that area somewhere where it was a little tight, and
Yes.
so we did, and we really struggled over variance.
Yeah, so there's something called the Springs at Willowbrook, which had a little bit of that, but not as much as the Springs at Lake Elmo, which is a similar design. It's
Okay.
all very flat, and
That's right. I think it was Springs of Lake Elmo.
so
All right.
we did drive through the Willowbrook development. I think it was last year's tour, maybe it was 2 tours ago. And there, with the Springs of Willowbrook, they're using irrigation there to partially meet the watershed district's
Yeah.
storm control role. But then there's the roars at Willowbrook that I think we stopped the van at and looked at, and they've had a lot of difficulty. Their infiltration basins aren't working.
Right. I remember that one.
Okay, so while we're, do you gentlemen have anything?
But I had something. So if we do decide to go with option C and decline both alternatives, attempt to find a different solution, do we have any idea what that would look like? Can you think of anything off the top of your head?
Well, I guess it would be to have them try to do irrigation for the limited green space that they own. You could have them attempt to reconstruct the infiltration basin that's not working and prove that it can't work rather than relying on their geotechnical engineers' professionalism.
But if that's not gonna turn into quicksand or something, right? I mean, they're gonna come in with a sand substrate and essentially make it deeper.
Well, that would be up for them, but
Okay.
what could be done, and then I don't know if it would work or not, would be that they excavate out the poor infiltrating soils and replace them with soil that does infiltrate, loosen up the soils below whatever they excavate out and replace, and see how that would perform.
Okay,
But there's no guarantee that that would work.
so before we come up with any ideas or solutions, ma'am, could you give us your perspective and see what, any
Yeah.
developments, yeah, please.
Yeah, so I'm a developer for United Properties, and on the line is Kenny Horns, who is our civil engineer on the project.
Yes, ma'am.
He can probably answer, he's the expert in this and can answer all technical questions. Kenny, can you hear us?
Mr. Horn,
Sorry, it took me a minute to get my cursor over to the mute button. Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
yes, indeed.
Okay. Well,
I have to ask, have you been paying attention to, forgive me for asking, to what we discussed?
that's a fair question. I've been paying attention, and I think John summarized the situation very well. And right now, I really don't have anything to add unless there's some specific question I could try to respond to.
I have one question.
We
This
have another question, sir. Go ahead, Mr. Brock.
This is John Brock. I'm just curious about the disconnect between the investigation that upfront that for the infiltration basin that said we have a soils and geology that where this would work, and then the as-built condition. Was this a matter of heavy equipment driving over the excavation and compromising it, or did the investigation just miss that this was not going to work?
I think primarily it was that the initial investigation should have been more extensive. We had 3 soil borings in the area where this storm basin ended up. And they indicated silty sand materials, various layers of material. And I'm not the geotechnical engineer that, did the investigation and can't really speak to the details of it. But the information we had at the time of design indicated that infiltration should work on this location. Otherwise, we wouldn't have proceeded, and I don't believe it would have been permitted if we knew that it wasn't going to work.
So, but heavy equipment wasn't running over that and compacting.
Oh, There has been some erosion and some equipment, construction equipment in the area. I haven't been out there to observe all of the activity. It's just been occasional observations that the basin is not draining. But we're relying on the geotechnical engineers, kind of post-construction evaluation of the soils that indicates that infiltration is not likely to, be successful here.
Okay, thank you.
This is Bill Junt with United Properties. I could add to that if you would like me to.
Please.
Bill Junt with United Properties. I'm the Vice President of Construction. So to kind of answer your question about was heavy equipment used, this pond is not on site of the industrial project. It's part of the site, but it's not part of where we constructed the building. So the only heavy equipment that would have been on that pond would have been the actual pond construction. There was nothing else associated or even near that would have incurred loading of heavy equipment. So if that kind of helps understand that your question a little bit better.
Sure. Right, and weren't soil borings conducted because to give us some idea of the infiltration potential of that site?
Yeah, the soil, there was three, like Kenny mentioned, there's 3 soil borings taken, but none of them were in the pond. And maybe not even, I don't know, Kenny, you can maybe speak to that, but not even near the pond. It was.
I think they were close, and
yeah,
based on that information, again, we proceeded with the design. This was a logical location to locate the basin because it's a low area of the site. We're collecting drainage from the whole industrial area and, managing it in this large stormwater basin.
Okay,
So-
sir. Yeah.
Mhm.
You'll give me a moment. Mr. Inspector, you had a comment or a
Well,
question?
President Marchand, and I'm not going to comment on the soil borings.
Right,
Yeah, I believe the information that they're presenting, this basin does have drain tile in it, and it still doesn't work. But my comment would be going back to the construction process. It was poorly protected from an erosion control standpoint. Actually, Outlot D had a soil stockpile there for about a year that with no erosion control on it, that would just make its way right into the basin. If you look at the pictures, there's a trench between the 2 ponds. That's been that way. There, in my opinion, there really hasn't been an attempt to repair, maintain. If you look at the vegetation, poorly established. Part of that's a reflection on the poor soils in the area, I think, lack of topsoil. But it was not protected well during the process or after the process. And I haven't seen any attempts made to correct any of it. Now, again, that hasn't anything to do with the soils that are underneath. I'm not going to challenge that, but I can tell you from a construction standpoint, it was poorly protected and vegetate. Right now, if that infiltration basin was working, I'd say I still can't close the permit because vegetation's not established. It's all weeds out there. So that all helps contribute too, right? So healthy plant life. You have continuing sediment going into the basin and capping it. So I'm not sure that this was ever drained in any material removed from it to attempt to see if they could break that cap of sediment to see if it would actually work. I can't tell you that that was ever done. So I haven't seen it done. Now, I don't drive out there all the time. I stopped going out there because nothing's really changed in 2 years. So, but that's just my comment. And if you go back and look at the city's erosion control inspector made numerous points about the same stuff. So that's just from a construction standpoint, again, not commenting about the soils underneath, because that could very well be true. And no matter what they do, maybe it wouldn't infiltrate. I don't know.
okay, I have another question. Anybody can jump in and answer this one. If this becomes essentially a holding pond for irrigation purposes, how effective is that? Is it too much, too little? Obviously seasonal. But, is there an obvious benefit here?
Mr. President, they would not be able to conform to your volume control rule with converting it into an irrigation system. But they would be able to reduce some volume leaving the site. If they only construct it, make it into a pond and a
Yeah.
higher enhanced sand filter, there's no volume reduction.
I see.
But if it's somehow captured and they're reusing it, then there's less volume going downstream.
And they don't have any more, area to work with or volume.
They have very little.
Unfortunately not, no. We
Resource.
only own the industrial parcel and where the pond is. The rest is a different landowner.
You see, so, you're gonna love this one. How did that happen? Somebody answer.
How did what happen that we don't own?
How did we get to the point where we have this, this problem? Who thought of this? Forgive me for that. Gentlemen?
I'm sorry, Mr. President, are you referring to gentlemen as the board or asking myself and Kenny?
You, sir.
Okay. So the year that this project was built and the year following it, when it was turned over to the tenant and everybody occupied the building, those years were of severe drought. So we assumed, as per the design, that the pond was functioning because there was little to no rain because of the 2 years of drought. Last year, when we started getting water, that's when we started noticing like, wow, this is not working. And that's what precipitated all of this and brought this to where we are today.
Okay.
And to go back, I'm positive that the earth berms that are on that other outlot, those are maintained and seeded and still have erosion control around them.
Okay. All right. So we have an idea of what's happening here, gentlemen. Now let's think of some solutions. Yes, sir.
One additional question.
Go ahead,
is If, if the solution becomes to send the water downstream, are we gonna be exacerbating the PFAS
Yes.
situation in the area? There's a lot nearby, and I'm not sure if this site is impacted or not. Are we gonna make things worse?
Mr. President, Treasurer Bellman, most of the PFAS high concentration closer to the surface is actually south of CASA 14. So it starts at near the Menards in Oakdale.
Mhm. But it
this
doesn't
is
show to
north
the
of
north
that.
side.
And so the stormwater on this site would basically be from rainfall, not from drinking water. And of course, now they're finding PFAS everywhere. So there probably is low concentrations of PFAS in the stormwater, but it's not, the plume, groundwater plume is different north of Old Highway 5, CASA 14 itself.
Thank you.
Okay. So I'm not an engineer. Give us an answer. Sir.
So it sounds like they're close with the computations to showing they can meet 75% phosphorus reduction. And then could have the higher peaks, but it doesn't, unless I'm missing something. But are we seeing peaks somewhere or peak elevation somewhere that are detrimental? Did I miss something?
Mr. President, Secretary Brock, so if the managers are moving toward the option B, Josh Phillips' first suggested condition states that prior to construction, that they need to submit the plans and all the stormwater modeling that would be approved by Valley Branch Watershed District's engineer to demonstrate that the peak discharge rates for all required storms is less than pre-developments. We can update that to peak discharge rates leaving the site and no increase in peak flood elevations within the Willowbrook development. So
That looks plausible to you.
Is there,
Yeah, if we can demonstrate we're not having negative impact downstream and we can achieve the 75% phosphorus reduction, then I'm more on board with it. I mean, we got what we have what we have.
Right.
And
Yeah.
I absolutely do not like the idea of taking their $147,000.
No, of course not, of course not.
Yeah.
And, 'cause I mean, I don't even know what we would do with it that would benefit this part of the watershed in any way. So I'm
that,
just trying to be practical of what are our options here.
Yeah, one of the.
I wonder if there's another option. Excuse me.
Go ahead.
And that is have the developer make another run at getting the basin to function as it was originally designed. Not necessarily redo the whole thing, but to explore further in terms of what the options might be in that regard. Maybe that's deeper soil borings or something that gives them more information as to how they could get it to function properly. I think at one point somebody, I think you were saying that, to dig it out and to aerate the soil or get the soils to be a little less compacted.
Didn't they mention that
Yeah,
yeah,
the efficacy is,
Bill, correct me if I'm wrong, we had our geotech study that to see if we did
Still.
loosen the soils, even
Correct.
at 5 feet in its function.
So Mr. President, Treasurer Gelman, this fourth page of the memo, in the middle, after that sentence that says the basin continues to not perform in 2025. That next paragraph there is what the permit holders get us to engineer.
right,
That about excavating.
Permitters
So while
evaluate.
the soils could be loosened, decompacted, or excavated to some depth and replaced with soils at higher infiltration rates, each of these methods would only create a means of temporarily storing a volume of water. Once the loosened or excavated, replaced zone below the pond fills with water, the surrounding soils will still infiltrate at very slow rates that are currently occurring. In our opinion, it's not an effective means of infiltrating large volumes of water.
That would have been nice to really.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what we had hoped for as well. And that's why we had Braun Intertech go back out there and revisit this for us. And the term has already been brought up by you guys. They used the word like you did. This becomes a bigger bathtub.
yeah.
It will not infiltrate.
And just to add to this, the safety factor regarding people coming in contact with the bathtub. Sometimes in some of my outdoor recreational activities, I get stuck in mud, and sometimes it's been dangerous. I learned the hard way. So that's something that crossed my mind. So the thought is making this thing deeper and then having some sort of volume rate, and hopefully, and again, you'll square me away because I'm trying to visualize this in my mind, that we're not gonna have too much water in a particular event be deleterious or cause problems downstream.
Yes, Mr. President, that's the goal, and that's what that suggested condition number one is that I read about peak discharge rates. The site is in the new building is a warehouse building. There's some existing office building near it. To the north is, you have to go quite a bit distance to the north. There's I think a city of Oakdale is constructing a ball field, and there's the Wars apartment building and other housing in that area, but it'd have to be constructed the same geometry that the Minnesota Pollution Control Agency suggests for safety. if you're concerned about kids being in a wet pond.
It's just a thought. Yeah, it could happen.
So it would need to have a safety bench that typically wet ponds are constructed. So there's at least like a 10-foot wide safety bench that's at the water elevation, that's at a flat slope, a 10-to-1 slope. And then below that, you can go at a steeper grade. So the thought is that the person or animal, that
Yeah.
they'd only be in 1 foot of water, a shallow foot of water before it becomes a deep.
Okay. All right, what's our next step? Are you folks going to implement something and then have our engineering people look at that?
Well, Mr. President, it's in your court. You need to
Yeah.
give direction on what you'd like
Yeah.
them to do. If you accept
Okay.
their option 1 of the money, if you accept option 2 with the suggested conditions, or if you want something else.
So in my opinion, depending on what the managers say, option 1 is not going to happen. Because one of those thoughts, of course, was, sure, we'll fix it, and it's gonna cost us, $160,000, $200,000 to repair, so, as I said, no way. Okay? And, option 2 or B, seems like a logical choice. And that's gonna have to be revisited because of the revision. And that will be subject to approval. But that seems more reasonable than the other options.
I agree. I don't know. I don't see a viable option other than option 2, with the 3 conditions that are outlined at the end of the bar memo.
Yeah, what other alternatives could they attempt?
Yeah, we've exhausted everything, and Bar Engineering's been wonderful to help us manage through that, and we've looked through everything that they've suggested, and it just doesn't work. So option B is definitely an option for us, obviously. But we are under a time constraint, and we obviously want to get this corrected and fixed and repaired and whatever needs to be done this year yet, obviously. We don't want to have to trail into next year and go through another winter season. So
Hey.
if we do go with B, and we would love to have you guys help expedite that process for us if you could, to give us direction.
Right, yeah, we're certainly not scolding you. Again, I am disappointed that it came to this, but regardless, we want the problem squared away because we don't know what's gonna happen with future water events and
No, correct.
looking out for everybody. So.
Yeah. And I will say it's been, as we've observed this,
Yes.
I mean, we had 3 record months in a row last year of record rains. And now this year, of course, a tremendous amount of water again, and none of those times have we ever observed any water leaving that pond. So that's been good, but of course it has not been a 100-year rain event, but it has been a lot of water. So I've been pleasantly surprised that water has stayed within its own bounds.
You can't even stock it with fish. Okay. So we're looking at a revised design as I'm reading here. Convert the basin to a wet pond with an iron enhanced sand filter bench with conditions of approval. That sounds quite viable. Gentlemen?
Mr. President, based on what Kenny Horn submitted today, it might not be a handstand bench. It might be a 2-cell system. So I think
okay.
it's,
Okay.
I think they'd want some flexibility and not just approve a special design. I think you could keep it vague that it needs to conform to the district's 75% total phosphorus removal
Right.
requirement. And those conditions are spelled out on the last 2 pages of the.
Right. And Bar Engineering understands this change with using the cells instead of the iron enhanced, that this system could be effective as well.
based on the Minnesota Pollution Control Agency's guidance.
Okay. Beauty. So you're asking for direction here, correct? And, or are we gonna require a motion? Counselor?
Yeah, you'll definitely want a motion.
Yeah.
Okay.
You like me to take a stab at the motion?
Oh, heck, yeah, you're the man.
Ooh, pressure's on. All right. I'll make a motion to modify permit 2022-27 to allow the infiltration basin in question, that infiltration basin A, we need infiltration basin A to be modified to a wet pond that conforms to the three conditions outlined towards the end of the bar memo on this topic tonight.
That was a mouthful. I will second that. Is there any discussion on this? Okay, not hearing any. It's been moved and seconded.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye,
Aye.
Aye.
it is approved. So,
Thank you.
thank you, ma'am. Thank you for attending.
Yep.
And you gentlemen as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Kenny.
Yeah.
Appreciate your time and considerations. We'll get right on things and get
Thank
this,
you.
get this taken care of urgently. So appreciate your time. Thank you.
But I will say, we will keep your feet to the fire.
Keep our feet to the water.
Okay,
Yep. No, we're on the same page. We just want to make sure we're doing something that's going to work for everybody, and that's great. So we're on board. We thank you for that.
all right. Thank you, sir.
You bet.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good evening. Thank you.
I make that mention.
Yes, ma'am.
You were supposed to have the budget hearing, public hearing at 7:30. It's 8:02, so I don't wanna
Can I go ahead and do that now?
leave that up on the agenda.
Thank you. Thank you for the reminder. My goodness. Okay, I would like to suspend our meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to suspend our meeting, our regular meeting at this time. It's been moved and seconded.
Aye.
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 Okay, now I would like to open our budget meeting for public, what is it, public input,
Public comment.
public commentary.
Public-
Thank you.
Mhm.
Wow. Do I have a second?
Second.
So moved and seconded.
Aye.
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 Okay. To our public.
Tickets,
Yeah,
Nobody's online.
very good. Thank you, sir.
hearing buddy.
Not even the frogs. Okay. So with that, I would like to move to close our public hearing on our budget. Do I have a second?
Second.
The moved and seconded.
Aye.
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 Okay, that's unanimous. It's closed. I would like to make a motion to open our regular meeting, excuse me, to resume our regular meeting.
Second.
So moved and seconded.
Aye.
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 All right, back in. Thank you, Counselor. We're gonna get to it sooner or later, right? Okay. Closeout, permit 202341 Murphy residence. Motion is required for this one. What's going on here, John, Mr. Engineer?
Yeah, Mr. President, this permit's ready to close out if the necessary recordings easement has been recorded. We're still waiting for confirmation from Attorney Forseth to make that determination. If the easements have been recorded, then BAR would recommend closeout and inspector allows permits.
Counselor,
They have not.
okay,
So
pending,
I think there's a good chance that they could be recorded prior to the next meeting if you wanted to authorize closure upon confirmation that they've been recorded and then release the surety, or if you want to push it out for 2 weeks and do it again.
Risk factor.
They don't get their money either way. It's just whether they would wait for 2 weeks or less than 2 weeks.
Does that seem reasonable to the managers?
Yes,
Mr. Bill?
yeah, I concur with council.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Okay, then. Mr. Bill, would you like to make a motion?
Not really.
Okay.
Let's see, I'll make a motion to close,
Permit.
permits number 2023-41, release of surety contingent on
Nice.
confirmation from Attorney Torseth that the easement has been recorded.
Excellent. I will second that. It's been moved and seconded.
Aye.
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 Hi.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Bill. You did the right thing.
Excuse me, who seconded that?
I did. Yes, sir. Yes,
Just a question on that with the check. I'll give that to you and have you mail it, or do you want to let me know?
If you would prefer to mail it yourself, or if you prefer to have mail it, either way is fine. And I can let you know when we release the funds. Or you can keep.
I would say, let's just have you
Okay,
mail it.
that's
okay.
fine.
I think
can you
that-
handle that, Susanna?
Yeah, I promise not to lose it.
Yes.
Mhm.
You know where I was going.
I did.
Just having fun. Okay. So, Mr. Gelman, Treasurer Gelman, you'll enter that check shortly.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Mhm.
Right then. So that resolution has been squared away. Mr. Inspector, you're up. Jeff.
I believe attorney is next.
Who?
Me.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh, I thought we handled, okay, sorry about that. Resolution 2025-08.
Yep.
Go ahead.
So that's in your packet. That is to authorize purchase of the Winkle property, and just a
Right.
reminder of what the terms of that purchase would be.
Right.
Is that President Marchand would sign the purchase agreement and issue $133,750 in earnest money right now. And then the closing would occur, I can't remember when it's occurring.
November.
I'm trying to remember what that agreement was, but the closing is occurring at a later date. In fact, I think that one is before June,
June 26th.
June in 2026.
Yeah.
But it also authorized President Marchand to sign the real estate documents, to purchase the property on behalf of the district at whatever time the closing is actually scheduled for. So it could be as late as June 2026. It could be January 2026.
Excellent. Okay. So, am I going to sign these at the end of our
Yes,
meeting?
assuming it's,
Thank you. And right now, we don't have to sign anything, correct?
no, but you do need a motion to approve the resolution.
Okay, then. I will make a motion to approve resolution, is it 2025 -09
8,
-08, excuse me. Got ahead of myself on that. Do I have a second?
Second.
So moved and seconded.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye,
Aye.
it is approved.
and then just a reminder, Ed, I did add one more item under attorney.
Yes, you did. Go
So, everybody has in front of them, it's this estoppel agreement. So this is something, it's at the Black Diamond Settlers site, and this is actually a permit that was closed in July, so it's recently reviewed. But what's happening is the underlying landowner is getting another mortgage, and their lender is saying, hey, you just need to give us confirmation from the watershed that you're not in violation of your stormwater maintenance agreement. because it's recorded against the property. So what you'd be authorizing is just saying, yep, it's there, they're not in violation. And the only thing that's a little funky about this one is number 3. It just says the seller has made all payments due. The only reason I didn't cross it out is because it says if any, there are no payments due. So I don't see any harm in keeping it there. Rather than do back and forth with the attorney, that asked me to obtain a signature from the district. I just figured I'd present it as is.
Okay.
So this would be also, a motion to authorize President Marchand to sign this on behalf of the district.
All right then.
I'll make a motion
Yes,
to
sir.
authorize President Marchand to sign the stormwater management facility maintenance agreement. Stoppel. And for the East Ridge Industrial LLC and Royal Credit Union, the lender.
I was second that motion. So moved and seconded.
Aye.
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 It is approved. Thank you, sir.
That is all for me. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Susanna. You need,
I'll get it at the end.
after, okay.
We're just gonna go.
I'll set that over here. Very good. Well, that turned out all right. Mr. Inspector,
President Rashawn Managers. The packet there's an inspection report. We have just a couple of updates. Been a little quieter lately because we haven't had as much rain that's been going prior, but if you don't mind, I'll just start up.
oh yeah,
Springs of Lake Elmo, as you remember, we've had the leaking, something leaking under the wall from either the
Yeah.
sewer system or the storage tanks. About 2 weeks ago, they had a contractor come in and they actually lined the storm sewer pipes with a film that they use a heat treatment to seal everything. They'll be moving, asking us to close that permit soon. They did say that they restored the erosion on the Tesla slope. It was pretty poor and I asked them to try again. It wasn't very good. So they'll just need to get that squared away and hopefully I'll have to wait to see when it's raining to go out there to see if it's actually stopped. I'm hoping it would. I'm sure it was an expensive operation. I don't think this is their first time trying to do this. So anyway, I'll have to confirm that once it's raining. So, the XL pole replacement and grant, after our heavy rain here about a week ago, I did ask them to do some cleanup on the pole 77A, in which they have done. They are starting to stage the pole replacement components on these different sites. And so I would expect by the end of the month, they'll start replacing those poles out there. Otherwise, everything's stable. It's quite a process for them to get all this staged, all these mats down. And then to get these poles, the components in place. Then they have to bring the cranes in.
Yeah.
And the cranes have to come in and lift the little lines off they're shutting down the power to that transmission line Monday. So they take the weight off and they take a plasma cutter and they cut this steel pole
oh, okay,
20 minutes per cut. And it's really thick steel. I'm
yeah.
amazed at what they say they can do with those plasma cutters. I guess that's that's just more of my own fascination, sorry.
That's okay.
Like to cut this thing down like a tree.
Does somebody have to shout timber?
No, I think they put straps on it and lower it with the crane, but yeah, it wouldn't be a bad idea. Wildflower, this Prairie Sky Townhomes, in the report, I said it hadn't started. They had everything, they started this week. They started moving dirt this week, no issues to report. So that excavation's going on. Goose Lake, they stopped the pumping right before the end of Labor Day weekend.
Goose Lake, right?
Yeah, so
That was up.
and I happened to be out there in the Lake Elmo Park on the weekend after, and I didn't see the impacts to Eagle Point Lake at all. there wasn't any issues there, so.
Did you by chance, if I'm not interrupting you, did you by chance see the water clarity levels at Goose Lake? Just visualizing.
I go by there all the time.
Yeah.
It actually doesn't, it's right in my neighborhood, so, doesn't look much difference than it did before the alum treatment at this point, but I understand that it's not until the second alum treatment next year that we'll really see improvement, right, John?
Yeah.
But it looks about the same, you
Yeah.
know.
I look at the gauge, the lake gauge, when there's pumping going on, so I'm trying to monitor, how it's going, how long they're gonna pump.
And the water level has certainly receded
Oh,
from
it's,
10.
it's way down below the shoulder. It was up on the
Yeah.
paved shoulder
Yeah,
prior to Labor Day weekend, so. Let's see, I did, the top residence closed. And I did pick up the keys from Attorney Torres' office. Not much to report there. I did turn off the power. I turned off the water. I shut the gas off to the appliances.
Mm.
The gentleman next door did remove the furnace, which was fine. It's dandy.
Scavengers.
Yeah.
how about that
So-
piano?
So, I just thought it was just safe to just shut that all off.
Yeah.
If a contractor wants to go in, when they go in to inspect for asbestos or whatever, they can turn the power back on and turn on the lights, but I just thought we shouldn't really have anything powered up, just shut it all down for now. And I did the same thing in the Sandal residence out on Jocelyn Lane, shut things down out there.
Oh, yeah.
There was a note, there's a neighbor coming to take the piano away, so, which is great, that's fine. It's the second time we've had a piano.
Is that enough?
Yeah,
money?
demolition. Yeah,
Wow.
remember we had the other one where you tried to
Yeah.
find a home for the piano?
It's expensive to move them.
There.
They are.
It's not a very nice.
I got a hernia from one.
Not a good one.
It was fun.
And then, I did speak to Mr. Seloff, who's one of the neighbors, he'll be closing soon. And, he has a neighbor removing the deck off the home, 'cause it's not very old. It's all really in great condition. And he's taking things like, he has stone edging pavers and things that he's stacking up and he's taking with him, so. But he doesn't have to be out anytime soon.
No, just a reminder to the managers of that agreement, we're closing tomorrow, but he has until November 1st to vacate. And so he and I have been in communication about, we think he'll leave in October, but then wants a little time to take, right? So, and then we are holding $94,000 until he vacates. So he's getting a big chunk tomorrow. And then once he fully vacates, he'll get the remainder of the funds that he's owed.
Couple other quick things, Silver Lake outlet, I checked this week, was about 5 inches over the weir, so it's dropped quite a bit over the last 2 weeks, so no issues there. And at the St. Mary's Cemetery, they've been stockpiling soil there for whenever that project kicks in.
Where?
With the stormwater.
Where's St. Mary's again?
St. Mary's Cemetery,
Yes.
if you remember, they came in for a permit.
Right.
And they started the project and stopped the project, and now they're stockpiling material there to finish the project.
Is that the one off of,
It's not far from Joy Park.
It's in North St.
Joy,
John.
yeah, Joy Road and.
Oh, no, not by Lake Elmo where you're thinking.
yeah, that's the first thing. came to
No,
mind.
this is a pretty well established cemetery over there. Some stormwater issues. So, but nothing to report, no work going on. Unless, Rick, you've seen something going on.
I saw the stockpiles of soil.
Just
I was gonna ask you about
Oh,
it.
you see.
Yeah.
And then I guess a question for Engineer Hanson, is there anything that they need to provide us, or can they just start their work? Do you remember, recall? I'm sorry, I throw that at you.
We can communicate tomorrow. I don't recall.
Yeah.
I think that they did submit the required money.
Okay,
Mhm.
But I'd have to go back and look at the permit conditions.
right, we can follow up on that. I couldn't remember off the top of my head where that was at, so that's all I have.
Thank you, sir. Anything further from any of the managers? Okay, John, thank you again. All right, our next item. So managers. We had this thing from Josh. Hanson.
President Town Managers had distributed a memo from Josh Phillips. If you recall, way back in 2023, the managers, I guess it was, maybe 2024, the managers awarded a bid to M&S Tree Removal for
Right.
some tree and debris removal within Raleigh Tree and West Lakeland storage site. The work along the West Lakeland storage site, a lot of it was not done until recently. And with all the storms between the time of the original quote and now, there's a lot more trees that are down. Engineer Phillips met with M&S Tree Removal and the property owners because the water level is also high. The tree removal person would need to access the property, would need to access where to remove the trees from different properties. So Josh met with everybody this morning, reviewed the site. He agrees that some trees should be removed. If they're not removed now, we would recommend removal in the future. But the cost for the additional removal is $4,000 for a 50% increase for this segment of the work. And that's outside of what the managers had authorized us to.
So very quickly from past events, we don't have to worry about damaging somebody's property, do we? You know what I mean?
Yeah, Mr. President,
Yeah.
as I understand it, M&S Tree Removal has identified the property owners that they would work with in order to access the property. And then where the actual trees are that be removed are within Valley Branch Watershed District's drainage easement.
Okay,
If they damage the property, they would be responsible for restoring.
okay, very good. Okay, so, do the managers have anything on this? Any comments, questions?
Yep.
Counselor,
This is just before we move on.
you know,
Resolution 2025-09 approving the preliminary tax levy needs to be. You had the public hearing, but then you closed it and moved on, which made
Yeah.
perfect sense, but you just don't want to, that's kind of a critical part.
unbelievable.
I'll make
Be
a,
our new schedule monitor. Holy cow,
Make
sorry
a-
about that.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2025-09, resolution approving the preliminary 2026 tax levy.
I'll second that motion. So motion second.
Aye.
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 That is approved. Thank you, Counselor. We need to sign that, of course. Want to do that now real quick?
Okay. Probably going back to manager's discussion. This is, I guess I would like a motion if you do approve.
Oh, Josh, yeah, of course, yeah. I was gonna take a stab at that one myself. And I was asking the managers if they had any questions or comments. Not hearing any, I would like to make a motion to authorize M&S Tree Removal to perform the additional tree removals for an additional and not more than $4,000.
Second.
It's moved and seconded.
Aye.
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 It is approved. Thank you, John. Tell Josh, thank you. Okay.
So now going into the resolution, if you'd like, I could add your electronic signatures. This resolution is necessary to submit to the counties with your preliminary tax levy. So I guess I would ask for your permission to add your electronic signatures and to submit the preliminary budget levy to the counties in the state.
You have my permission, sir.
You have my permission.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Okay, that's squared away. The cost share program project tracking, everybody can look at that at their leisure. They're getting really close. My guess is that they're going to spend the remaining $7,300, right? Okay, that's all I have on that. Future business. Valley Branch Watershed District meeting, September 25th.
How about managers? I've got one item.
You got one item there?
Yes.
Also. Oh, okay, sorry about that.
Okay.
I'm missing everything tonight. Okay, go ahead, Rick.
Okay, just to let you all know, I was contacted by, April Rust at the DNR's Invasive Species Program. And, she was actually reaching out to, lake management or, lake, associations. And they're doing a pilot program to identify, ASIs, especially zebra mussels. And they're looking for places to do a demonstration, where they'd be working with the service providers on lakes that remove people's docks and so on. They're doing that at a variety of places. And the interesting part I thought was that they're using dogs to sniff out the zebra mussels. So they got dogs that are trained to identify
Wire
zebra.
pointers. I'm kidding.
But they use them, especially for the lower units of motors. Cause you can't, it's hard to actually see them there. They've had them for a while now, several years. They know that.
Okay. So we're gonna take a look at Silver Lake and see if there are enough people with the same service provider to be able to use our lake. I understand she's also contacted, DeMontville Olson. And, I suspect there may be enough people there to do a demonstration. So that's good to see some
Interesting, yeah.
action in that way.
Oh,
Thank you, sir. Are we involved in any of this?
No, it's more the lake associations that are doing this, but yeah. I think it's awareness.
Mr. Levy knows about this.
Yes, she
Awesome.
recognized, I mentioned him and she said she's been in contact with him.
Beautiful.
Mhm.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. President, managers, on that topic, the DNR did some additional sampling after they found the zebra mussel larvae and the Olson to Bontrail system. So they also sampled Lake Jane and Lake Elmo, and they also found the zebra mussel larvae, which isn't necessarily all that surprising because they're all connected.
mm.
Found them where, John?
Lake Jane
Jane.
and Lake Elmo.
Well, it just figures.
Mhm.
Mr. Brock.
I just wanted to let everybody know I stopped in a couple days ago into Heritage Embroidery in Stillwater. I was gonna look into getting a shirt with our logo on it prior to, the Minnesota Watershed meeting
Oh,
in December. And Lady looked it all up and everything was in the computers for getting the emblem made. And she said that she would be happy to work with me to order a shirt to put it on, or I could just bring my own shirt in, purchase a shirt that I wanted that on and bring it in. And then it was $17.50 for them to embroider our logo on the shirt. So that was
Not bad.
what I was planning to do. But I just want to let everybody know that's kind of the deal on it.
So I have a fancy shirt that I would consider, but we can do almost anything.
Yeah, you can do it on, I think, hat.
Anything on all caps, the stocking caps, shorts,
Yeah.
sweaters.
A fez.
Will
Mr. Bill?
Will the emblem get lost in a Hawaiian shirt?
It could. It could. I got a couple of scary Hawaiian shirts, tents, I call them. Okay.
And also
Yeah.
my wife said she wanted to buy the shirt because she wants a wrinkle-free one that she doesn't have to hang.
That's very appealing. I'm gonna tell the boss lady about it. She's certainly gonna have some input. What do you think, Don?
Sounds dandy.
Yeah,
Secretary.
a particular size or is it, what if you wanna do like the whole back or something?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know if they can dial that up or down, or if it's just circumstance. I don't-
Secretary Brock, did they give you any, estimate on the timeframe it takes them to do that?
No, we didn't talk about that. Once I got on the idea of bring my own shirt in, I just said, thank you very much.
We can also do those on, light jackets, that sort of thing. Yeah,
So,
okay. We need to contact them individually or?
well, that's the thing. I don't know if you want to try to do group thing or just everybody do your own thing or what might be easier to do our own thing. I don't know. But
Did we determine how we were gonna pay for that? Is it out of our own pockets or is it Watershed District?
I don't recall motion. I think there was a motion or direction for me to get it set up and it's set up, but I don't remember. I'd have to go back and look at the meeting minutes to determine if there's a motion about,
If you could, and then email me tomorrow and then we'll determine that. I don't know how the managers feel about it. It's not a big deal. How about you, counselor? Putting one of those on your, no way, huh?
Didn't say that.
Okay. They don't pay me enough for this. Mr. Inspector,
Yeah,
you got ideas?
that's a good idea.
Yeah. Okay. All right then. Thank you, John. That was a.
Sure. And I personally, I think we as a watershed district, at a minimum, get Jeff one for when he's doing his inspections, whatever
Yes.
type of,
Yeah.
and buy the shirt and whatever, so
Yeah.
that he has some sort of a quote unquote uniform, if you will, when
Right,
he's
like your lab
meeting with
coat.
people. Yeah.
One of those one-piece jumpsuits.
Orange. Orange.
We are Devo.
Did you just break out of Oak Park?
No, I'm the inspector. Orange. With a helmet and everything.
They could come in short sleeve too, so for summer.
Oh, that's a thought. Okay. Good idea. All right then. Is there anything else I missed? Are we okay? All right then, I'll move on to, September 25th and October 9th. Will all managers attend? Anybody gonna miss?
I will be on my honeymoon for the 25th. I'll be back for the 9th.
For you, sir. Okay. We're happy for you. I was gonna bake you a cake, but I don't know if you like my cooking.
Mm.
Oh, he did bake you a cake, but he ate it on the way.
That's likely. I've done that. Thank you, sir. The tour, October 6th. Be ready. Do we have all that squared away and what we're gonna do, or are you still mulling that
as
over?
president and managers, I have a draft I can share at the next meeting for manager.
Please do. Yeah, there might be input about what we want to do there. Okay. And the workshop regarding the cost share program, October 8th at 5 p.m. Easy enough? Thank you, sir.
We're gonna be sick of looking at each other by Thursday night.
No. It's not gonna be that bad. Find a way to mitigate that.
Yeah.
Okay. And the workshop regarding the rules still to be determined, possibly October 22nd.
So like, as president, so that another doodle poll and all managers, Attorney Kelm, Engineer Phillips and I can attend, or said that they could attend October 22nd. But Attorney Torseth was a no, so I don't know if there's any flexibility for Attorney Torseth. That was the only date.
That was the only date, I think. I think my reason for a no is I'm scheduled to be at another meeting that night. So if it's in the daytime, yes, but that I have to leave at 5:45 to meet my 6:30 meeting.
So,
Unless it's canceled and I don't have to go. But right now it's on my calendar.
but if,
Tori could be there.
right, that's what I was gonna ask, if Tori could be there, is that okay? And, okay. Just making sure she's okay with that, and that you're okay with her being okay with that. Okay, that sounds good. the watershed budget workshop with the Washington County Board, November 4th. I will attend. I don't think we'll have to defend this, but just in case, we'll discuss that.
Mr. President, I typically, they suggest, Washington County staff suggests that the watershed districts meet with the commissioners prior to the actual workshop,
Oh,
and I can work with you to
Please.
try to schedule something.
right, where we meet upstairs outside of their offices in a conference room. That's perfect. Yes, please. let me know.
Last year, because there was no increase in the levy, they didn't want to meet with us, but they might want to meet with us this year since there's a slight increase.
So we'll be, we'll have our backup ready. Thank you, sir. Okay. Let's see. One more item. Motion to adjourn.
Second?
Been moved and seconded.
Aye.
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 We are adjourned. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, everyone.